Nearly Vinny Eastwood. The Vinny Eastwood Show. Live Saturday and Sunday at 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Only on Ground Zero Plus. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, and hermaphrodites. The Vinny Eastwood Show is bad news. It's like the news, but so much worse! It's the lighter side of genocide! Just cause we're getting exterminated doesn't mean we can't enjoy it! Otherwise, what's the point of being killed, man? The Vinny Eastwood Show, where the only thing worse than living in a high-tech global police state run by child trafficking Satanists is Vinny's jokes. Like, they're really bad, man. Anyway. You see, this beastly, ghastly show has been exposing our scumbaggery, which we call necessary. Yeah, and as the World Economic Führer, I believe we should give him a little gift with a little card that says Merry Christmas from Santa Claus.
Oh, yeah, we could send something through his windows.
It may be necessary to penetrate the Vinny Eastwood Show. The Vinny Eastwood Show. Yeah, that's what I said.
Well, I've been working on a new Vinny scene. I think that might be the kind of penetration we need.
Absolutely. He's a major impediment to our planet. How are we going to get rid of him? We could poison his water supply. We've done that already. Okay, I'm running out of ideas here. I'm sorry, I've got a lot going on. Klaus Schwab Jr. telling people that I'm some evil overlord.
Oh, that's just not true. You see, we're lifetime actors.
Yes, we play the role, don't we? But I am still glad, even if I am not really the overlord. And I have penetrated all the cabinets of the world, penetration is big for me.
Oh, it's big for me too. I wouldn't be me if it weren't for the copious quantities of penetration.
Yes, well, thank God my mother's out of the way. Otherwise, I never would have been king. Just keep to go on and on. You know, the stress of dealing with this Vinny Eastwood problem is probably what killed her. She was a very young 96, you see.
I streamed it to the right place. Okay, here we go. Now I got to go live on the YouTube. You're set on your end?
We are live right now as we speak. Hi everybody. We're just in the background of the Zerilath broadcast and getting our shizzle to gizzle.
Yeah, we're good. We're live on my end, my man.
All right. Well, it's customary for the person who's hosting the show to open the show to an audience or something of that nature. Hi. So, by all means.
Gotcha. So, hi, everybody. So, I didn't know that Vinny wanted to do it to the last minute, so I'm just going to say hi to the Vinny Eastwood Show audience. I had invited Vinny on my channel to have a chit-chat from a long time ago. Vinny is an old friend. We are colleagues from the Revolution Radio, Wolf Spirit Radio days of, way back 2012, 2014 or so. I was doing my thing there, doing his thing there. And we really, I think we really started connecting. It was around 2014 because we were working together both on the whole Bundy Ranch thing during the Obama administration. That's the last time we talked, I think, too, because I think we kind of were rocking and rolling and going through our own ups and downs. You in a much bigger. That like I've said like, oh, what's Vinny doing over there? Oh, Vinny's heroically getting arrested. I fucking love you, man. You fucking hero. I saw that arrest. I was like, wow, dude. You got the balls of steel. You're earning this. Yeah.
One hopes.
So that's why we're here, man. I just it's been quite wild. I wanted to get like your take on these so on these so many years, just to have a good catch up conversation, right? Because you know, a lot happened way before you went to that moment. I think didn't you run for an MP? Didn't you have a politics run for a short minute? I could have sworn.
Technically, no. I wasn't actually involved in politics. I was just doing their social media for a political party with the Legalised Cannabis Party used me 1 year, and Billy TK from the New Zealand Public Party, Advanced New Zealand Public Party, happened the year after. So, yeah, I think I was not asked or tried to participate in the previous election or in this election year for some reason. I don't know exactly why, but it's fine. I've got other things to do. I'm just rushed off my feet looking after my kids at the moment.
Yeah. The and New Zealand is in an interesting state of affairs, and we don't hear too much about what's going on over there. We all know that it's like supposed to be this giant elitist retreat country of sorts, you know. So does it feel more Mordor or more Shire nowadays? It's the Mordor to Shire scale in your country, and there is no other scale of measurement.
Well, in Scotland, they say we have the shite scale. And on the shite scale, we're just off the fucking scale, man. It's... but no. See, New Zealand is a beach retirement community the size of England with 5 million people in it, right? And that's nobody. All right, England's got like 40, 50 million people or something like that. We've got 5 million and around about the same land mass. There's very few people here by comparison. And we're a former British banking colony, much like the Cayman Islands. And much like the Cayman Islands, we are a centre for organised crime and worldwide money laundering with a subservient government that's already been captured by that organised crime. So we have a Bill of Rights in New Zealand, which is different to the American Constitution in terms of rights, because there's a clause in the Bill of Rights, I believe it's section 14, that says we guarantee all these rights by law, and we can change the law at any time to say that you don't have them.
Right.
Not right.
Well, no, not right, but right. They are going to pull that game, right? America has the only thing out of all the quote republics and democracies out there is that we have that nifty little separation of powers. That's what everybody forgets when they want to set up their thing, right? It's why I'm not a big fan of parliaments, because it seems like all the parliament systems are going to be like that, because it's almost like, what if the Speaker of the House of Representatives was the president of your country and they could appoint judges? That's kind of like what Parliament feels like. Am I right? Is that about the civics of parliaments?
Parliament is basically an elected dictatorship. So you have elections every year for who can control all laws in perpetuity, right? Right. So that means one parliament can pass a law giving people, say, gay marriage, and then the very next parliament can wipe out that law and make it illegal. right? So there's no kind of separation of those powers. The government is all powerful. You have no choice. And if you've participated in the election or not participated in the election via voting, whatever, or not voting, it doesn't make a difference. They still have the monopoly on force and dictatorial power to change laws literally at will, including the COVID-19 Health Response Act, which was passed at 4 o'clock in the morning when there was maybe half a dozen members of the 122 odd Parliament members present in the House when they do that. Now, this is not entirely dissimilar from the United States, where the Christmas period is known for having very dodgy bills passed through when the majority of senators are away on holiday with their families, and then they can just slip through anything through. So there is a difference. We're both speaking English, yes, because we were conquered by the British, and we just have different accents is the thing. And having a look at the British system of government and the parliamentary service, if you apply that lens to the English-speaking nations, the Five Eyes, Canada, United States, New Zealand, Australia, and Britain, you will see similarities in the language, but a difference with the accent. One of the main differences, for example, with the United States and New Zealand is New Zealand can pass a law and it's one state, whereas in the United States, if a state passes a law, you can just move to another state where that law doesn't affect you. In New Zealand, it is the whole country that passes a law and there is no escaping it.
Yeah, exactly. Because there's not a whole lot of not a lot of countries operate with states like that, where there's this sense of the nation state aspect of it, right? There's 50 nation states in a contract we call the Constitution that establishes our representative, democratically elected republic. That's supposed to be that's pretty much the closest way to saying what America is as a government structure, outside of our known anarchist rhetoric of it's all just fucking tyranny.
Unfortunately, yes, it is all tyranny, ladies and gentlemen. And next week, we will bring you the truth about why Vinny's jokes are worse than satanic child trafficking, ritualistically sacrificing pedophiles.
Right. You know what's fun? You know what's fun for me? Jeffrey Epstein and his files. My town. This town I live in is all over those fucking files. I've been fighting Jeffrey Epstein my entire life, and I didn't know who the hell he was. I just knew that his chick's dad was trying to rot my brain in high school. That's all I know. Right?
I think this little guy doesn't like being on camera anymore.
This is my handler. He gets very upset when I start talking about his cousins. Okay, buddy. They're bad lizards. They're bad lizards. You're a vegan. You are vegan. You are Mark Passio approved, sir. Okay? David Icke, I will introduce you personally to Mr. Icke, okay? This is my iguana.
Yeah.
My handler. He's my reptilian handler, as I tell everybody.
Yeah. If you ain't got an iguana, we don't want it.
I know, right? I know. I don't know if I want to be a Florida man, but this is about as close to a Florida man I feel like being.
Yeah, this is iguana as I'm gonna get to Florida, man.
Yeah. So while we're having a cool conversation here about the civics of the matter, Canadians are still in complete disbelief that they're actually British subjects. I'll talk to some of these disillusioned Canadians from some time, and they'd have no idea that King Charles sat in Canadian Parliament as the monarch last year.
Yeah.
Right? And it's not like it's the first time it's happened in a boomer's lifetime or a Gen Xer's, because the Queen came in 70-something, right? So like, you know, like everybody, it's almost like the monarch comes and goes, and like they don't even let, like, was anybody in the country told that like the king was sitting in parliament? Nobody watched it on TV. Like it was like I saw it on YouTube streaming here from America. Oh, look at that. Look at Canada enjoying the fruits of not shooting the British. See, we shot at the British, and it scared him because King Charles is a bitch. You just have to shoot for a little bit and bribe the French. Don't forget bribing the French.
Never forget bribing the French, man. And you know, there's only two things I can't stand, and that's people who are intolerant of other people's cultures and the French.
French. I know, right? Oh my gosh. Yeah. So you've been on a bit of a hiatus as of late, but you were pressing really hard. What was some of the biggest things that had been your focus in your broadcasting career? Since, right? Especially especially pandemic forward in particular, right?
Yeah. What was strange about the Vinny Eastwood show is that we interview, I say we, it's just me. Occasionally I had help from people, but the bulk of it, I think, since 2008 till today has just been me getting the work done. And so the listeners support the broadcast by giving me gifts and donations at thevinnieeastwoodshow.com, and they email me the names and contact information of guests that they want me to bring on, and I email that guest. I ask them, do they want to come on? They say yes, they come on, I interview them, and we have a good time. And then it's published, broadcast, and re-uploaded across various platforms now, so that they don't get, potentially deleted forever, or at least have to take down 5 major websites in order to do that. So I think the range of people that were interviewed never really became skewed. Like even during COVID, we had people like Mark Passio on, and G. Edward Griffin, what's her name, Rosa Corey, from and just basically experts in the fields of how a world is truly run, and we got them on these political broadcasts to discuss these much wider and broader issues than just the COVID, and that's 90210 reference. And the thing about these people is they're not wound up in the myopia of the 24-hour current news cycle. Like, for example, you were just mentioning Epstein, and if I was trapped in the current 24-hour news cycle, I'd say, Epstein, what's that? What about the war? What about the war? Right? And I remember about a month or two ago, a mate said to me, Vinny, I think this is it. I think the Epstein files are just going to expose everything, and it's like the end of the elite and stuff like that. And I said, nah, bro, it'll blow over in about 1 or 2 months, because they'll employ something else to distract you from it, and then the attention will go there, and a couple of months after that, everybody will have forgotten really about the Epstein list whatsoever, and forgotten that almost nobody's been arrested on that list, and that all the people who were in power while standing next to Jeffrey Epstein are still in power, and they haven't moved, and their things haven't changed. And about 1 to 2 months later, the Iran war starts, and we're in the process of now forgetting everything about the Epstein files. All right, and so like Ian Malcolm in Jurassic Park, boy, I hate being right all the time.
Yeah. Right. Because all that is what's gonna happen. Unfortunately, it makes me just as angry, right? But that's when I really took my focus, when I thought about these current events. Like, there's a superior way of addressing them, because the only way that addressing them matters is what you are capable of doing, right? Like, the Epstein files have done a tremendous amount of damage that was going to happen as a consequence of everything. Do we have a Hollywood anymore? No, we don't. Do we have the superb owl system of the NFL, the Niflheim, if you will, the Nephilim, right? No, we don't. These things have all lost their prestige. People want to run the narrative that America is ruined because we don't have all of these things. America's morale is in the toilet, but that's because it's been in denial for fucking ever. Everybody was affected by the Epstein files. It may not have one iota of effect on their power, but it also has all the iota of effect on the person who cared to look at it and realize if I walk away, I can get my power back. That's a big part of it, right? Like, oh my God, look at all these things. Why did I like all these people? Right? It's people can make those choices, and maybe it's not even going to be enough people to make the kind of difference where it seems like government's going to slowly disappear. But I think that freedom can rise because people be like going back to high trust societies instead of just trusting someone who throws a stranger with credentials in your face and also jazzes them up to be more lovable than the monster they really are behind the mask.
Yeah.
You know, I think that there's been profound lessons because whether it's us personally growing, I think that there's been this incredible growth in what people want to do as they're, some people, they don't know what to do, but they're listening, to all sorts of people talking about this stuff. And it's just like, I feel like it's our responsibility that when we inform them of the evils in the world, that we inform them of what they can do about it. Right. And so I say, stay so superbly focused on that people think I'm delusional. Like, I could tell you how little I trust anything going on in this war, but how happy I am to see fucking Iranian people witnessing fundamentalists that have been tyrannizing them 10 times worse than the tyranny that we're complaining about. We're worried about becoming a place like Iran, right? I mean, I'm just as worried about Trump's Christian Reich as I am of the Ayatollah's whole fucking bag, right? Not that I'm worried about that for me here, but I'm just saying that, like, sometimes you stand back at the whole fucking board and you know what's fucking gonna happen, what could happen, what should happen, and all those things. And that's a lot of what runs through my mind. So I try not to be an endorser per se, but I try to stand on everything line item. I find that line item is the way that you really cut through before you tear down everything. You know what I mean? Or build up everything, because you don't want to build up the enemy, but you don't want to tear down the divine. Is the best way I can phrase it, right? And that's what puts me in my complicated position. I go back, like I just did a live stream last week analyzing Marina Abramovic, right? Who's all over the Epstein files, is close friends with Rothschilds, is an Ashkenazi Jew herself. And I'm sitting there, I'm just like, all right, but what is she really? Is she really, like, evil? Is she really just a part of the system? So on and so forth. Is she espousing terrible, terrible things? I'm a metalhead, right? And so I listen to music that has very, very evil expressions in it. And some of it is kind of glorifying it almost for the thrill, like it's a kind of way of finding a freedom, like in a profane sense of the word. And then there's guys that are doing that in a manner that exposes evil because they care very deeply and love the horror aesthetic, right? So some of her art is absolutely that. It's a question of, is it a smokescreen for anything truly diabolical? And I went through like 3 hours of analyzing all of her shit, and I said, okay, with the exception of needing to look into her dark side on the front end, how she's influencing people, it's not that far off from my own values. Like, she's definitely teaching people how to do ritual work through performative art. She's absolutely doing that. It's very obvious because consciousness. She talked to a Hopi elder about rites and rituals, and all these different things. And she's definitely more of a globalist type. Seems to be anti-communist though, so that's not doesn't make so like I'm happier about that because she didn't like the tyranny of communism, and so she's not on the woke spectrum, despite all these liberal types who love her, right? And so it's very, very interesting, and I think that you gotta have a little bit of sympathy for lizard people. Lizard people are still people, aren't they? So I try really hard. It's just like, let's find out, because are we condemning people to death wrongly? Come on now. This is all, like, I practice magic. I can't just say, oh, she's a witch, therefore evil. I'm calling myself evil by those merits, right? But we all know that they used her performative arts for ideas, right? I think they wanted her ideas. She may have known what they were using them for or not, but I don't know. She does interview, like, she talks pretty freely. She doesn't seem like she's trying to, like, lie about something she did in her life to avoid talking about a crime like you get with anyone else. So she could be off the hook. She might be just a more spiritual part of the problem, which that's to be dealt with on a spiritual level, and not to go after her in fucking courts because she's done nothing wrong in that sense. This is how complicated I get to try and make what this conspiracy research does work in a very serious manner where people aren't just lost. Because a lot of people, they think when you run through the rhetoric and the narrative that you're just obsessed with you're obsessed with pedophiles. That's what it is, right? And
yeah,
so
I had this guy the other day commenting on my thing and saying, Vinny, can you talk about something else? This is getting boring. And I say, yeah, absolutely. Once the child trafficking Satanists are out of the way, there will be much more diversity with the content of the Vinny Eastwood show. And my dad always said that only boring people get bored.
Right. Exactly. It has to be talked about because you need to know who actually is operating under blackmail and is not capable of being a person of any level of trust, whether you think it's possible to be trustworthy in those places where they are tempted to be blackmailed. And the way they set up a whole system so weak men and women succumb and are persons of blackmail. Right. So, yeah. But like...
Just to give people some context on this.
So, slavery, right?
So, back in the day, people had this thing called morality. All right? Like, way out concept. Like, the concept that if you did really, really bad things to people, that was bad. All right? Now, people who didn't feel bad about doing bad things to people started realizing that good people who didn't like them doing bad things were a threat to them continuing to do bad things. So what they would do is they would get evidence of these so-called good people doing bad things and then blackmail them with that piece of information that they obtained surreptitiously so that they would continue to pass laws and measures in society whereby morality ostensibly continuously got undermined and in some cases made illegal. And you have SWAT teams coming to your 16-year-old's birthday party or something like that because somebody reported an event on Facebook, right? So now things are crazy because reality's been inverted. What was once the done thing that everybody knew, having a moral conscience, is now considered bigoted, racist, homophobic, Islamophobic, various other types of phobic. And, you just sit there and you take all these labels and labels and labels and labels, and none of them stick, but it's the only thing that people remember when they hear 100 news stories about you through 20 different mediums that they see, try to smear your good name, which is basically fraud.
They're so devoid of knowing like rationally what morality in a person is, that the only thing they can think of is like you're an ist or an ism, right? And that's the definition of that's all the definitions of bad people fall into the known ists and isms. You're a communist, you're a fascist, you're a Nazi, you're all these different things. So you've got a phobia, and you're a phobic, and all this stuff, right? And it's trying to, it's setting up a pre-crime situation, right? It's all that thought police stuff, because obviously, if you are afraid of gay people, you would be attacking gay people in self-defense because your butthole is threatened at all times.
Yeah.
Right? That's the deal. The men are afraid of gay men because it threatens their buttholes at all times. They can't enjoy themselves in the community shower room. They have to worry that it's like prison and they're going to drop their soap and it's going to be all over because of some lunatic who fancies men can't help himself.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And there are people that are like that because some people are like that, and those are bad people. But it's not because they're gay. Otherwise, every gay person would be like that, and they're just not.
Yeah, I was gonna.
And we're so, like, I remember the 90s talking about homosexuality in high school, right? I'm just at the tail end of Gen X, right? So I'm cusping millennial. So I'm trying to be like, I'm mostly getting Gen X information in my early childhood, and then before I can fucking embrace Gen X identity because I'm in arrested development in my early parts of my life, all this prepping for the millennial programming that would be installed by 9/11 was coming in through the late 90s and having all these different odd conversations about things, including, what was the gay rights conversation ever since the Matthew Shepard killing here in the United States, which turned out to be some sort of a drug deal went bad and not actually based on a hate crime. He was trying to screw him over on some drugs or something, and then they dragged him behind a car for that, and it had nothing to do with his sexuality, right? But the conversation at the time, nobody cared about that. They made it, it was about gay hate crime stuff, and they were talking about, are you born gay, or is it a choice to be gay, right? And then you're talking about psychological science, and you haven't taken psychology class like that in high school, especially because it wasn't like, I wasn't even my senior year, right? So, there's where morality's going. And for a long time, conclusion in moral intelligence was, you are born gay, and if it's possible to be born gay, therefore the Bible is wrong about it being a sin. No one is going to get raped or hurt. These are adults making adult decisions.
Right.
However, that was the logic that then turned into woke 20 years later.
Well, the logic back in the 50s was even more skewed. The word for a homosexual meant pedophile, right? As in, the word homosexual that was in use in the 50s meant pedophile. And if you look at the homosexual population and you ask them to put up all their hands at, say, the New Zealand Big Gay Out, where they've got people with coloured hair and big signs saying F off, just to show how tolerant they are, you could ask them, okay, everybody who out there is as gay as the day is long. They all go, yeah! And, okay, and which one of you have never been sexually abused as a child? Almost no hands go up, and you're like, oh, okay. It's sort of like how I've got complex post-traumatic stress, because I get panic attacks when people yell at me, threaten me, kidnap me, that kind of thing, because of the police intervention in my life. That's a traumatic incident, creates a brain injury, and then a certain type of behavior in certain environments. And I believe homosexuality, at least some of it, maybe most of it, is just basically that. It's a response to trauma. The trauma of being sexually abused by somebody of the same sex can sometimes result in you becoming homosexual.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that is so pervasively true. It's actually in the mix of our hatred of pedophilia as a moral sin, a moral crime, as one of one of the top of objectively evil abuses that a person can transgress upon another on that level. To take an innocent who can't physically defend themselves, has no agency to understand what's going on, and is being gaslit through the process for the sake of some sort of suffered obedience to the acts that they are doing for Jesus fucking Christ. When you think about what the fuck they're doing this shit for, like, what the fuck are you like? It's pleasure, and you're doing it to blackmail, and you're doing this, and you're doing that. What the fuck?
They don't like the whole... The elite don't like the whole 2 birds with 1 stone. They like 7 birds with 1 stone sort of thing. So let's say, for example, hey, let's pull off 9/11. Well, what are we going to do as a result? Well, we're going to get more surveillance over people, and we're going to get another war. No, let's make it 2, 3 more wars, as well as having naked body scanners and having an enormous debt to the Federal Reserve, and we will steal the reserves out of the bottom of the World Trade Center, and we're going to be able to test our drone aircraft as well, and fly them into stuff and see whether or not we can have sufficient. And
we're gonna tell them every single thing we're gonna do through every movie and TV show you're gonna watch that decade.
Just to ripen you up for it, right? Wait, hold on a second. Have you ever thought to yourself, like grooming games? Just the words together, grooming games, sounds really sick, right? What if the term grooming games is actually something that the mainstream media, mainstream TV, and mainstream music are playing with the general population in terms of inseminating our minds with certain concepts before those false flag happen, right? Now, you were talking before about practicality. When you hear about a conspiracy or something of that nature, what do you do about it? Okay, you say somebody tells you 9/11 is an inside job. What you do there is you now understand that every single time there is a major international incident with a lot of killings, either of your people or somebody else's people, is probably an inside job that was set up so they could play it on the media and make everybody afraid so that they could pass successive legislation in order to screw you out of your freedom. Okay, that's the thing. So just don't go along with the plan. Okay, great, now I know 9/11 is an inside job, and now I've got the appropriate response to that so I don't get fooled again. What's the next one on your list, Vinny? Well, there's fluoride in the water. It's a neurotoxic chemical that basically gives you holes in your bone and holes in your brains, and destroys everything that there is to know about the human body on a cellular level, and they put it into the water supply because of a vagary within the municipal code that allows you to dump toxic waste so long as you've purchased it first, because then it's legally not classified as toxic waste. It is now classified as a product, and it ain't illegal to dump a product into the water supply. So it became a perfect way to get rid of toxic waste. Well, what's the solution then, Vinny? Well, you've got to either get bottled water from very specific sources that are from artesian wells, because all the other bottled water that they have is probably fluoridated anyway, and just some guy in Pittsburgh filling it up in his bathtub, and you don't really want to try that. Or you can have a whole house filter, or you can have a Bio 1000 water filter that you buy from an organic shop or something, and then you've no longer have that neurotoxin supply going into your stuff. You know,
until I got the money. Yeah, until I got the money for the big Berkey filter, I use zero water. The price point is perfect on it. You replace the filter every couple of weeks maybe, and you get gallons of water on one filter, and it takes out all total dissolved solids, all the any metals. It gets rid of it. Specifically designed for fluoride, because it's a reverse osmosis filter system.
Yeah. And then you come to the conspiracies that are about things that you can't actually really do anything about, like chemtrails, for example. What are you going to do? Get a Stinger missile? You know, it's like, bro, you're in trouble there.
I really should build I want to see if a cloud buster would actually, I've heard people say cloud busters will work. I really ought to get a cloudbuster.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a whole bunch of them around here that people have sent me, but there's still clouds everywhere, so I don't know exactly if they're working or not.
You know, my best bet has been just staring at it until psychokinesis kicks in, but it hasn't worked yet.
Yeah, that's why they call it psycho.
I just like staring at them, and I'm just like, go away! I'm seriously, I'm trying to summon all my animist fucking energy into the spirit of the demon in the fucking air. Go away! That's the best I can do. It's get out of here.
It is the heavy metal solution to weather modification. Go away! And it just apparently doesn't work very well. And that's what's problematic about doing a show like mine, where you cover all these different topics across an entire spectrum of understanding, where you figure out how things actually fit together and how the machine really truly functions and rolls, what its patterns are, what and where they repeat, sort of thing. At the moment, where I've only just within the last year or two started to really see the pattern. I noticed the pattern, but now I'm really seeing it. Okay, here's the pattern, ladies and gentlemen. And at some point in the early part of your century, there will be some kind of big war, some kind of big pandemic, some big kind of financial crash, and each of these will accomplish a bunch of different goals that benefit globalism, and then they repeat the process. All right. And part of that process is, of course, showing you a leader who says that he's for you, but he's really for the other guys. And it takes you until he's done all of his work for the globalists before you realize that you don't like him, and then vote him out, for which they will replace him with another guy who tells you exactly what you want to hear and do the exact same thing as the last guy did until you get bored with him and toss him out. So there's every...
Don't forget. I was going to say, and don't forget that the opposition party, no matter whether they're in control or not, will also fail you.
Mm-hmm.
I look at all these people that are just Trump's going down. It's just they're going to fail you. They're feigning how much they hate him. You realize?
Yeah.
It's just like Ted Lieu is going after him with the Epstein. Ted Lieu has not talked one iota about any of his colleagues that are all mentioned in the Epstein files. And he hasn't mentioned the dark depths of absolute debauched, evil, vile substance. Oh, and he also hasn't gone after a whole transhumanist plot that you wouldn't want to be a part of if you were bothering to listen to people who are reading the Epstein files, to encourage you to go read the Epstein files.
It's something that we have to come to terms with, is that not everybody's on the same page. Not everybody has done a huge amount of research that you have done. Not everybody is hated by their family and their friends and their bosses and their leaders all at the same time because they stand on the side of truth, which is usually right in the middle of the side of two people who hate each other and now decide instead of hating each other for lying and believing lies, they now hate you for telling the truth from both sides. So that's what's problematic. So in order to get people off track, and this is the most important thing, Trump's a perfect example of this, but of course he's by far no means the only example of this, is giving you the idea that something's being done and there's nothing you can do about it, so just let the people who are doing their job to save the world do it. I listened to an interesting podcast, or rather audiobook last night about raising resilient children. And it turns out that if you don't want your children eating bad food, being rude, and treating people good, and having good screen habits and things of that nature, as a parent, you can't have those habits either. Like, if you want your child's behavior to change, you have to change your behavior. And it's like that in everything. Everything comes from within. If the person you're listening to says, no, just eat popcorn, it's all going to be fine. Or you know.
If my dad could clean his room, then maybe I would have grown up to be a man who cleans his room.
Precisely.
I'm still working on the ability to clean. It's just, I'm very busy. The clothes is on the floor. It's sort of sorted. I gotta go. I'm busy. I'm saving the world over here.
It's right, the 5-second rule. You see something, you have a thought about it, and you think about doing it, but you don't. You go and you do something else. Inside of 5 seconds, if you don't make action and pull the trigger, oh, there's a tiny little piece of trash on an otherwise clean floor. I'm just going to keep going, right? That's that moment that you failed, right? You have to be on point. You have 5 seconds to react to anything that you think needs doing. Otherwise, you're screwed.
Sort my snot rags. I just have to throw them in a bin, right? That's the thing. I got to pick up all these shirts. Wait, that's a work shirt. That gets dirty. No, that one's for clubbing. Don't get that one dirty. Like, that's my life, right?
And so
this is like this shirt does not go to work. This shirt is one of my favorite shirts. One of them. It's one of my temple shirts.
Right. I'm wearing my work shirt at the moment, I guess, because I'm working. And this whole idea is that you can't actually solve the world's problems until you've solved your own, really, at the end of the day. And that whole, who are you to say this, that, and the other, for some reason, I'm starting to become like a bit of an elitist. It's only really people who actually have their shit together who really have a right to tell other people to get their shit together. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And the thing is, if you've got your shit together because of how you took care of yourself, I mean, like, yeah, you're an elitist, but you're not like a tyrant. You're literally an elitist in that you are an elevated person.
Yeah.
Right? Because of what you can do. Like, I could never tell somebody to get up in the morning. Now I tell people to get up in the morning, or I could tell people to get up in the morning all the time, because I get up in the morning all the time. I get up at 3:30 sometimes to go to work. I'm fortunate now. I got like a 10-minute less commute. So now I get up at like 5, right? It's just like I'm up before the sun because I work in construction now because I stopped being a fat guy. Yeah, because last time we talked, I was twice the man you ever knew. Right?
Oh, real?
Yeah.
Congratulations, bro.
I was on radio most of the time, right? A lot of people didn't know who I was until how I looked until I did more YouTube stuff. Right?
Yeah.
A lot of people had no idea. A lot of people didn't know I was like a metalhead with long hair. Then I'd get onto a couple of Skype calls with the guys. I wanted to be on camera to show them stuff. Be like, oh, dude, that's what you look like? Well, you're a cool looking dude. I was like still heavy, right? But I had a serious sense of style and attitude.
Well, we've all got our vices, don't we? So anyway, the whole concept here is about having a knowledge of conspiracy. Yes, you do, but also the application of that knowledge. Now, so let's have a look at some of the things that are claimed to be psyops. All right, whether or not they are a psyop it's really irrelevant, because the main rule is, can you practically apply what you've learned? Okay, flat Earth. How do you practically apply that? You're going to go use a different kind of GPS in order to get to work in the morning? No, you're not. Okay, that's out. Q, is it telling you what you want to hear? Yes, it does. Is it encouraging you to actually do anything in your own life to improve yourself in any way, shape, or form, or contribute to the fight in any way, shape, and form other than giving them likes and attention? No? Okay, that's out. Mandela effect. Oh, people are changing the past and the history so that people don't remember shit right, and the things that they remember are wrong. Okay, can you do anything practically about that? Are you going to plan to, I don't know, write a list of all the things that people remember incorrectly just so that you can tell them and that they won't remember because the past has been changed? No? Okay, that one's out. All right, so Q, Trump, Flat Earth, and Mandela effect were just like these four just dead ends as far as I was concerned. I was like, okay, it doesn't really change anything, because I can't change anything as a result of learning that knowledge other than telling other people the knowledge. And that's whether or not these things were absolutely genuine. Whether or not they're genuine, you can't actually do anything with that information, right? The Anunnaki is another one, right? All of the ancient aliens kind of stuff. Now, how does that help us with the immediate threat of a ruthless gang of satanic child sacrificing pedophiles who control the world's monetary system and control ostensibly every aspect of life of every citizen on this globe, regardless of what country they're in, through their secret society networks? Unless it's about that, right? It's a waste of your goddamn time, and it is benefiting that.
I'll tell you this much though, right? I'll give you one thought on the Mandela effect, because I'm glad that was in the mix for me to answer about it, because like Mandela effect and some aspects of what I was experiencing being exposed to flat Earth were ontologically shocking, right? Because I was becoming very aware of how, dude, there's no way, no, right? Because like you become disoriented. Like, I didn't care about the Mandela effect in the beginning because everything was nonsense. It was stovetop stuffing. It was just like, it was Gilligan's hat. I'm just like, all right, that's wild. It's kind of freaky, but it doesn't matter. Then the maps started changing. The geographical locations that you could look back into earlier published whatevers, where, you know, continents were just ever so slighted. You know, like Sicily is way, way closer to Italy than I ever fucking remembered it. And maps don't change much in the equator area because everything is kind of scaled to the equator. And so human anatomy changed. That's when it hit me hard, because it put me in myself. I grew up in that wonderful 1990s education system by Robert Maxwell we were talking about, and all textbooks, going back to the beginning of medical journalism, from looking at pictures and things, and those same textbooks by Robert Maxwell that I grew up in, like, heart was over here. Put your hand on your heart. You say the Pledge of Allegiance, because Pledge of Allegiance was still a thing in the 80s for me as a kid. Whatever it was, I don't even fucking care or know. Anyway, your heart was off center. You know, I'm sitting there, I'm hanging out with New Agers trying to get, like, spiritual wisdom. We're always meditating on heart center. And the crazy thing, when I saw that the heart was actually in the center of the body, which was not how I remembered it was, at the same time, I also said, wait a minute, if this is not how it really was, and now it is, then God just fixed the problem. Because now I feel more balanced, because my heart is literally physiologically centered. Now, like, I grew up believing something existed called kidney shots, where you get punched here below the rib cage, and it was an illegal move in boxing and other fighting because you could rupture your kidneys. Everybody I knew had an understanding that that was a thing that existed. Now, all of a sudden, my kidneys are protected up above the rib cage. The kidney shot is not a thing in history anymore. There's no matches that were ever called because somebody hit somebody in the kidneys because they're not vulnerable. So I'm like, I ran around my entire life thinking my body worked a certain way. Whether Mandela effect is a lie or I was just lied to, now I know better my own body and have a greater mastery of it because I paid attention and found what actually matters. And now that I am this good, I can break a pedophile's neck really easy.
And that is why we do it, folks.
See how that works, right? So, yeah, like, and that's why I said, like, whenever, like, we're talking about the Epstein files, like, how does that turn into what you can do? I found out what I could do with the Mandela effect, right? Mm-hmm. That's what, and that's the real point, because we'd rather you not talk about it if you don't know what to do with it, right? For me, I was in the I was looking at the psychology of things, philosophy, spirituality of things. So all that was deep, as well as me looking at the geopolitics, the real nitty gritty, they're holding a gun to your head shit, right? Because there's metaphysical demons pointing spiritual weapons at my head, and then there's real fascists pointing guns at my head. And I have to deal with the material world and the spiritual world, and I have to be a warrior in both.
Yeah, and that's something that's also very important nowadays, is the difference between men and their roles in society, and how adverse that is to how they're treated in this society. You know, ever since the days of Homer Simpson and Married with Children and all of this kind of thing, the fathers have basically been the butt of the joke. You know, they're useless, they're stupid, they're crazy, and so on and so forth. And what people see, they emulate, particularly children. So when you're looking at the mass media and mind control as it's related to children, you've seen a massive undermining of what would be termed loosely masculinity, the masculine roles of leadership and strength and protection and guardianship and spiritual guiding, you know, that sort of thing. Like in Seventh-day Adventist, for example, it's against their principles to have women be the spiritual leader of the household. Man has to do that, you know, sort of thing. And then you get this whole feminist thing. It's like, oh, well, men, okay, just the whole argument back in the day, I'm now suddenly starting to get it. Look, honey, get back in the kitchen. Take care of the kids. Let the man go out and put his life at risk just so that you can have food on your table. And when he comes back, be nice to him, be sweet to him, because he needs a place of space and comfort and safety, just like you do. And you both perform different roles. Oh, but women perform $150,000 worth a year of childcare and house care and stuff like that. Yes, but the men do the free plumbing and the free landscaping and the free mechanic duties and the free armed guarding of their women, okay? There is a value in what we do for each other, and one doesn't need to be paid for the other or appreciated more than the other. It just needs to be acknowledged that there is an exchange that is going on, that both people are responsible for according to your roles as you normally have them. It's not that difficult to understand unless you've been deliberately misinformed about the entire spectrum of human emotion.
I love the way you said that. That was really great. Yeah, precisely. We've lost our emotional quotient. We have an intelligent quotient, an IQ. We also have an EQ, an emotional quotient, right? And, you know, it's like, on TV, the leading males became like the fat, like brunt of a joke kind of thing. In the movies, the action star became a scrawny guy with incredible, almost superhuman or superhuman talent, right? You know, like you stopped casting the Stallones, the Van Dams, the Schwarzeneggers. You know, everybody is like, everybody looks like they're under 150 fucking pounds. Right? And these are your fucking action stars. It's okay. You want to have a fucking cruiserweight division fucking heroes. I love a cruiserweight division hero, right? You know, I'll go watch Rey Mysterio in the ring, right? You know, classic Rey Mysterio in his prime, right? But I need a goddamn tank. I need to be inspired by a motherfucker who eats nails for breakfast. Come on.
You know who we really miss? MacGyver. All right? MacGyver was the shit, bro. He could do anything with almost nothing, right? Just because he had knowledge of how shit worked. And who is our modern day equivalent MacGyver?
And the TV show was doubling as a how-to for you. It was fun to walk through the process. Guys and gals fucking loved that.
Mm-hmm. And it helped that Richard Dean Anderson had the most gargantuanly orgasmic mullet to adorn his noggin. All right, bro. Like it cannot be undervalued. The good old fashioned mop top, bro. Anyway, I was just thinking about the concept of like changing oneself in order to change the world, right? And if you look at the parental responsibilities and responsibility in general, this is what I was heading towards. At the moment, we've got successive bits of legislation that take away your ability to make responsible choices because those irresponsible choices are now illegal. Therefore, it's taken away your agency and your ability to take risks. Okay, this is what we call tyranny par excellence. Now, at the moment, we've got a whole bunch of idiots who don't need to take any responsibility because their ability to take responsibility has been taken away from them by people who are smarter than them and have also taken away that ability for smart people to take responsibility in and of itself. Now, how do you earn freedom? Exactly. How do you earn freedom and keep it? It's by taking what? Responsibility! And if you're not able to take friggin' responsibility for anything or make any of your own choices, you're not free! And you're not gonna be!
Yes. Thank you. I love it. I'm getting the Vinnyisms.
I remember speaking to Max Egan and he's like, oh no, Vinny, I don't do isms. And I go, but what about jism? I mean, surely you've... Anyway...
Not again, man. Like, this is a family chant. No, I'm not going there. Right. But yeah, no, I mean, like, yeah, all I've cared about, like, has been just embracing that responsibility, right? Like, a lot of the work I went through was just like, I eventually heard a lot of fucking people in the conspiracy verse complaining about things where it's just like, I was in a pretty bad spot because I wasn't taking responsibility in my life. But I also was aware that I wasn't taking responsibility in my life because I was trying to fix I'm aware of how fucking bad my life was. I was struggling with so many things. I'm still struggling with a lot of fucking things. Right. And so the journey became twofold doing this radio thing of like, I got to talk about everything that spawned from 9/11 being an inside job in the narrative in my head. And then I also had to be like, fuck, how does one really get their life together outside of the fucking world created because 9/11 was an inside job? Because I don't want to interface with this post 9/11 world anymore. It wants to put me on all sorts of lists. Usually the kind of lists that they give you at camp. Very specific camps where you have to think really hard. Focus like. In a con of some sort.
Yeah.
Concentrating in a play. You all know what I'm trying to say there. See, I can do it too. I do it all the time.
Did you know why the blonde was staring at the bottle of orange juice?
because it said concentrate.
Correct.
Come on. I'm a 90s kid. You got to do better than that, Vinny. Come on.
Well, it's an age-appropriate joke at the least. It might be the first one of the day. Speaking of age appropriate, I was just thinking about the screens. All right, especially a lot of us people are in the truth movement. So there's this side of the truth movement who are the people who are living in the middle of nowhere, and they have this kind of community around them. When they're having meals, there's no screen on, and they're around and they're talking with other people at a table, right? And then there's the other half of the truth community for which is basically the opposite. They're in the middle of the rat race. They're doing their thing, and they're really isolated, even though they're surrounded by more people, technically, right? And this level of isolation, I think, is really bad for all of us, because it's never been this way. You know, we've never had the ability to just talk to people, 100 different people on a phone before. And so as a result, it's destroyed the parts of our brains that maintain our social cohesion, the things that bring us together, the things that make us value things in life. When you come home, is there somebody there? Yes or no? Is that person love you? Yes or no? Do they take care of you? Yes or no? If the answers to all of those questions are you come home and you're alone and there's nobody there who loves you, what is wrong with this picture? You know, there's something deeply wrong with that picture. And if there's something wrong with the picture, that means that whatever's going on inside us, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, or health-wise, that's being affected, right? The way things used to be is the way they could be and should be, and the reason why they are not is because of social engineering. They have made those things harder to have, so that you have to take choices and responsibilities to bring those things about, which a lot of people can't do because they're on two-income families where one of the parents does not have enough time to sit around at home thinking how to improve that home, because they've got to go out and earn money so that they can actually keep the home. So both parents are tired, and everybody's being raised in this society where everybody's too tired to hang out with each other and just have a laugh, have a conversation for no other reason than just hanging out.
Yeah, exactly. There's that was and the family divide there. Many people, if you don't know, ought to know, that was by design by, I think, the Rockefellers were the ones that had that intention with when they conceived of the suffrage movement and convinced the women that it was going to be this whole thing through their women. You know, because they didn't want to tell you that there's a whole gynocracy going on in the backdrop. So they didn't want to tell the women that there were actually some evil women in charge up top, because they're terrible mothers, and the men you're bitching about answer to them, because that's their fucking mother. Look at Elon Musk's mom.
I can't say I've had the pleasure.
Oh, dude, she's in that like demon in human skin category look,
like the Pope Benedict smile type thing.
I think so. she looks like she'd be super into the Abramovic art scene. I'll put it to you that way.
Okay, I don't know what Abramovic is. Is that some kind of shaver?
No, Marina, what we were talking about her earlier, the witch.
Right.
Yeah, the spirit cooking artist.
Okay.
Marina, if you're innocent, I'm really sorry.
I love it. You call you spirituals. What would you say? Spiritual cooking artist. Child cook. I think is the very plain, non-functioning euphemism way of putting it. That's another thing. George Carlin was very right, God bless his soul. If there is a God, or if it's just a holographic fractal being projected by collective consciousness experiencing itself objectively. But I digress. That people are using too many freaking euphemisms in order to hide what things really are. Wouldn't it be great if everybody had an idea that they shared, which was it was kind of important to be honest and be straight with people and use direct language so that people knew what you were saying and what you were getting them into, right? Wouldn't that be an interesting and very novel concept? And I think propaganda, I believe the book was literally written by Edward Bernays, and people don't know who Bernays is. They think it's some kind of source. He has the ability to research into social groups, find out what they hate, what they love, what they're indifferent about, who they are easily influenced by, and then formulate a package to a company so that they can manipulate the most people possible for the least amount of dollars possible using their unconscious desires in order to purchase products. In the suffragette case movement, for example, he got them to smoke by thinking of the cigarette as a sort of penis that women wanted, and let's face it, all women want penis. But I digress. Again, the whole option of manipulating the public in order to accept ideas that are unhealthy, illogical, that don't make any real benefits is quite well documented in a documentary called The Century of Self. And so the moving away from what the New Zealand Māori core, I think it was the four pillars of life, right? The four sides of a room, or the four pillars at the edge of the hut. As soon as one of those edges cuts out, the entire house can come tumbling down. That's your mental health, that's your physical health, that's your social life, and that's your family. All right? If your physical, mental, social life, or family aren't in good state, it can collapse the entire unit and you as a person, right? I thought that was quite an interesting little philosophical trait. And what would you say are the four things that are currently in crisis simultaneously throughout the entire effing human race? It'd be those four, wouldn't it? You look at any society that's currently living today, and you'll see that all four aspects of your life that provide your life with stability, that provide you the ability to have independence from authority, because you can take care of yourself, you can take care of your family, and they can take care of you, that kind of thing. It's all under complete full spectrum dominance operation attack. That's what's going on here, and it's not hard to see why. Unstable, unsafe, unwell people are much easier to control than the opposite.
Yeah, exactly. And make sure that they never address the cause of what's inflaming their condition, and you will forever have them on the linchpin of your ineffective alleviations, and you won't even have a treatment for them. You were talking about how they flipped the script on marketing effectively, and got people, to desire their stuff, basically, right? And then that stream of thought then led to this place, and I think that there is a spiritual connection there with people's behavior. This film had a major impact on me. I talked about it a lot back in the Rev Radio days, so maybe you caught it because I spoke about it. Did you ever see the Russian-American film Branded that came out in 2012?
I did, but it wasn't particularly memorable, and I've forgotten most of it.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Well, I mean, it wasn't like, it had its I loved it. I fucking loved the movie. It had probably... The special effects were okay, right? But everything they laid out in the premise of that film, if you do or don't remember it, was that a guy in marketing screws up a marketing campaign and gets a woman into a coma, all for the sake of trying to sell a beauty image standard of women for some Russian health interest or something. I can't remember exactly, but it ties into the big beef industry, right? And then he gets exiled. He goes through a red heifer ritual that magically activates his ability to see demons. And he sees the demons of the cravings for the brands in the marketing industry that he was working for alive as spirits that live in the back of the neck. And then when you are craving that brand, the spirit comes out and it drags you towards the source to give it your money. And then when you give it money, it grows, it buds off a baby that feeds into the demon in the building holding the business. And that demon gets bigger. And it's every fucking business building that's got a marketing brand agency with it. And it's all this black magic entities running Russian society in the modern day. And he uses his ability to see how it all works because he sees how the demons have manipulated people, how they act, to start a huge war so they all kill each other. And he has the demons fight each other in a big air battle. And that's people breaking off from the brands because he does this by sowing doubt. He goes to a vegetarian Chinese restaurant chain that's got a dragon for its mascot, hatches a big dragon that goes after the big demon that runs the burger company, and it eats it and destroys it. And it's kind of this big spiritual allegory for marketing warfare between emerging trends, right? And he's trying to manipulate a death war so that way he can destroy all marketing, because marketing was created by Lenin, and he realized that it was shadow communism, which always needed the West's capitalism to function. And that's the plot of the film. You should watch it. It's fucking brilliant. You should rewatch it. You'll learn. I think you'll learn a lot in how he can convey things. You might find some clips for a show that'll be compelling, or you can edit into something, because there's some awesome lines in there. Once you're able to conceive, because for them to have made a film that made that statement in 2012 was quite astounding. It's an under the radar gift to the consciousness movement.
Yeah, just like They Live in the 1980s, John
Just
Carpenter's.
like They Live.
Now, interesting fact about They Live is it was actually the #1 film in America upon its release for 2 weeks straight before it got pulled from every single theater.
Right, and it was considered a commercial flop in its time.
Yeah, because they deliberately pulled it from all the theaters because they didn't like that message being out there. And this is the other thing as well, because I see people giving, say, David Icke or me or Alex Jones or anybody else really in the truth movement crap because we make money off of our work, right? Just the very concept of making money off of what you work doing seems to offend some people as if you're some kind of agent or whatever. And I'll just be like, okay, dude, do you go to work? Yeah, you do, and you're getting paid for that? Yeah, okay, well, you must be controlled opposition then. All right, it's that logic, sort of like the logic of fossil fuels, how they found a whole bunch of animal bones in some tar, and they go, well, the tar must be made out of animal bones because it's got animals in it, because like a vodka martini is clearly made out of olives because it's got olives in it, right? There's no actual connectivity between the logic train carriages. They're not taking the logic train all the way to the caboose, is what I'm saying here. And they have a difficulty understanding complex issues. And that's because so many people are quite literally, and I'm not saying I'm particularly smart or anything, dumbed down. Right? The things that we watch, the things that we learn, and the things we consume inform our level of education. Are you reading books? No, I'm watching TV. Are you writing books? No, I'm playing video games. Are you researching things in a library or on the internet or anything like that in order to find out things about the stuff you want to know? No, I'm not. I'm just kind of like mindlessly scrolling through Netflix. Okay, there it is. What you spend your time on in order to distract yourself from getting educated is actually your level of education. It's not what you used to do, it's what you're doing right now. And that's something that kind of irks me about the human condition, is that people aren't overly concerned about the past, when I find the past absolutely fascinating and particularly interesting because you see it in the present. It's one of the only things in the world you can look at and see around you even when it's not there. History.
Yeah. And like, and history is like, and I think the history thing is, it's very synchronistically connected to the whole anti-male aspect of what they've been doing with feminism. Because men are better wired for reading, for understanding history. We do that better. There's women that do it amazing, right? But guys like, military historians talking about great battles and all these other particular like details and what was the crop harvest like in Spain in 1407 when the war was on or whatever. Like, we're looking at all that stuff, women have different things that they look at in general, and thus the past. Also, women look at the future, right? They're better at looking at what's on its way because of their relationship with environment, as per what emanates from that feminine energy, right? To know, so that's where the thing is. We need the women minding the future, the men minding the past, and then talking to each other.
Yeah. And it's interesting, you have lots of young women with lots of tattoos, and you can tell that they don't really have a mind on the future, that rose is going to look like a cauliflower, when they're a bit saggy. It's not, forward thinking. Like there's a lot of signs that somebody is not a forward thinking person who's really got themselves together. Lots of tattoos, lots of piercings, lots of cuts on your arms and stuff like that. Inanely and insanely colored hair, kind of thing. Ridiculously long nails with all sorts of pattern designs on them and stuff like that. This stuff is impractical and weird, right? And
I think I'm gonna vouch for tattoos because I am inked and I want more and I don't care, right? And I'm very well aware that maybe it'll just be awful like that. I also imagine I'll be old and wrinkly if I even live that long anyway, right? So, if she's got tattoos, I think as long as I think if they're works of art now, they'll be works of art just because it's her. Right. That's, I mean, like, you can overdo it. I don't think somebody should be like head to toe mosaic, but I think having lots of, I think if you're into putting that in, people just don't like all of my tattoos, because I've been conscious on a certain level about that for a long time. All, are there with legitimate, like, deep meaning. Right,
okay, so if I may, you didn't walk into a tattoo parlor and ask for a butterfly out of the catalog. You went in there wanting something very specific for a very specific reason that was actually in line with who you are as a person, that would help to enhance your spirit as a totem. Is that about right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So those are the two types. Those are the two types of reasons why you'll get a tattoo. One, because you're an idiot, and two, because you care about the saturation of your soul and your spiritual makeup via symbolism.
That's exactly right. I believe in the charge, the charge of the matter. Right. I got I put a Merkava right here. This was kind of a warning on transhumanism, as I put a Sephiroth as a circuit board jammed into my arm, as kind of like, don't be transhumanist. It's an ugly thing, right? That was kind of part of that, right? Like, I got all these different little things, and all of them are a big part of have been just a big part of core things that I'm not going to shake on.
Yeah. And so there's the difference, right? Anything in this world can be done for the right reasons or the wrong reasons, to a large degree. But there are also those, of course, objective wrongs, like, for example, boat, cucumber, murder. One of those words sound very different, doesn't it? You can't tell psychopaths that they don't feel anything different when you mention those words, though, because they get no emotional response to that little buzzword. So it was like Mark Passio was explaining that most people don't know what a right is, and ostensibly the main rule of the universe was true. It's immutable. What that means is it's true when it was first spoken, and it'll be true when it is last spoken, and that is the truth, right? That is what we're talking about, an immutable set of rules, an immutable set of wrongs against your rights. You have a right to not get threatened, murdered, raped, assaulted, trespassed on, have your shit stolen, or have people defraud you and tell lies about you. That stuff is yours to accept or not accept, okay? And if you don't accept it, somebody is breaking an immutable law of the universe to take that from you. And when somebody does that, they lose all of their rights, and you can do anything you want to them. Do you understand? Yes. In order to defend yours.
It's one of the most badass scenes in Lion Witch in the Wardrobe. Aslan, don't quote the old laws to me, witch. I was there when they were written.
So these old laws, don't take that which does not belong to you. Again, if you have a look, just in a very general way, what is being taken from everybody that is not really consciously being given? It's more like being passively observed, isn't it? Right? Government comes and takes your taxes. You know that it's wrong, but you pay your taxes anyway, and you just sit back as a passive participant in the giant war machine against your mind, your soul, your body, and your family. Right? Right? That's what happens when you sit by and do nothing when evil is carte blanche fucking with your life. Things just get worse, don't they? It's almost like it should be obvious, but as the old quote goes, the obvious is something that everybody sees, but it takes a genius to point out. And people who are geniuses have pointed these things out to me, and I was like, oh my goodness, you're right, I didn't even notice. Right, and just knowing how stupid you are and how stupid the things are that you have done, how stupid the things that you used to believe were, gives you a whole perspective on life, man. And it's the Dunning-Kruger effect. This is my favorite one. This guy walks into 2 banks in one day and robs them in broad daylight with no disguise. And then when the police turn up to his door, he's like, what? He was like absolutely shocked. How did they catch me? And when they carried away to the police star, they go, but I wore the juice. He squirted lemon juice on himself because he absolutely believed that, like invisible ink, when you put lemon juice on and stuff like that, he would disappear from the cameras. And nobody would be able to identify him because he squirted lemon juice on his face before he robbed the banks. All right, this guy really, really believed it and was so shocked that it was not true. And so these psychiatrists, Dunning and Kruger, they go, hey, that's really interesting. This cut. Well, what are we going to do about that? How did that work? So they got a whole bunch of people. in a room, a whole bunch of people who are complete dipshits and a whole bunch of people who are real smart. And they gave them a whole bunch of questions. And they asked them, after they've answered the question, to rate how likely they think their answer was correct. The people who were complete idiots seemed to be a lot more confident in the main that their incorrect answers were correct. Whereas the intelligent people had a lot less confidence that their correct answers were correct. Now, the reason why this is because the more you know how you could be wrong. And you know how complex things are and how difficult things can be to understand because you've learned a lot, you know a lot, and therefore you know how much, or at least you've got more of a glimpse of how much you don't know. Whereas somebody who's a complete freaking moron, who's got 2 brain cells to rub together, thinks they're so fucking smart that anything that they think up off the top of their goddamn moronic mind must be the truth, and they are unbelievably shocked when it turns out to not be the case. That is the Dunning-Kruger effect. Idiots are far more confident that they have the correct answers than intelligent people are. And that's why idiots go off and do idiotic things, believing themselves to be correct. He's going to build the wall! He's going to get the immigrants out of here! He's going to stop all the illegal end in sight laws! He's going to stop the state surveillance! I'm going to vote for him! Oh, okay, go ahead. Oh, well, man, he started a lot of illegal wars and surveilled us even more. How did that happen? Because you're a fucking idiot! That's fucking why shit keeps fucking going and fucking awry! Alright? God damn it!
I know, right? Right, you know, like, yeah. Like, I get, sometimes that needs to be my reaction. I've really kind of enjoyed my more stoic reactions to things, because, because I'm doing so much, like, in the real world, and such, where, like, when I'm right about something, like, especially when I get a chance to leak out an inkling of like something that isn't profane to talk about with somebody out in the real world at work or something like that, and they're just like what you're kidding me? It's like, how did you know that? Da 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 da, and just like is like I might be a wizard. You know, it's just like, and if I say that, they might fucking believe me, because they, like, I don't tell people shit, but everybody sees it in my fucking walk. It's on my aura, and they don't even fucking know that I have an aura, and they're fucking reacting to my aura, and I'm just like, yeah, that's right. You have no idea who I am, but you like me, and that's the way it works. You know, so, you know, like, I'm just like the guy in the superhero movies. You don't know he's a superhero, and then some idiot walks in and robs the place, and then you get to have fun being a superhero for 3 seconds. They see how amazing you are before you put your disguise back on, and it'd be like, what was that? Oh, yeah, I'm a dragon. What?
I get this feeling that when we're looking at sort of like real issues, that a lot of people are cast in this world of the unreal, because people don't like facts. They don't like evidence, okay? They don't, because it gives them no wiggle room. A lot of people have a personality problem. That personality problem is the opposite to my problem. My problem is, if I'm wrong, please tell me. Thank you so much for telling me. Now I can continue being correct by using the correct information. Other people, on the other hand, I'm incorrect. Oh, you must be attacking me, so I'm going to start attacking you. Right? That's the difference in the response. One person actually wants to be improving, and the other blindly believes in their own perfection and their inability to get things wrong. I love being wrong. It's how I learn. Other people don't like being wrong, and thus they don't learn.
Right. I don't love being wrong. But I love that I am corrected when I am. Right? I love when I am corrected, right? Constructively, critically. Like, if you're just there to smear feces in my face, then I'll be as wrong as I want to be, and I'm just going to punch you in the face for smearing feces in mine, right? Because at that point, it's not about right and wrong, because you're just an asshole. And I will wait for somebody who has respect to be like, would anybody else like to explain why I am wrong? I am willing to take a fair hearing, just not from this schmuck, right? That's typically my attitude, right? You gotta come to table like a man, instead of just being like, oh my God, you made fun of the flat earth. It's just like, yeah, you flat earthers are arrogant assholes. Whether you're right or wrong, you're arrogant assholes, and that's step one with the issue with flat earth, is you're arrogant assholes.
You know, I got accused of being arrogant once, and I kind of wondered to myself, is that because I actually was arrogant, or was it because I was confidently talking about something that I actually knew? And because somebody else had no freaking idea in the first clue what I was on about, or thought that they were taking personal offense or something because I'm criticizing an industry that they themselves have been a part of for some time, and yet this factoid or whatever about the film industry or whatever has somehow escaped them after being employed in a cult type situation for the entirety of their working life, right? And so therefore nobody can criticize it because nobody knows it better than me. And it's just like, dude, sometimes from the outside looking in, you do actually know a bit more. Some of the mechanics of the inside, on the other hand, yeah, definitely. If you want to go down to the dotting the I's, crossing the T's, you go for your life, son. I'm sure you're better than me, but I know how the overview works, and I am not an idiot who is going to fall for it or allow it to happen to me.
Yeah. You see, but yeah, no, because, I mean, I've never gotten accused of the arrogance, probably because, I'll speak, oh, let me throw my doubts out there for, explain to me if I really don't know what I'm talking about for X, Y, and Z reasons, but here's why I think I'm right, and then I go off on it, right? But, I'm imagining that you're getting that rap of arrogance just because you're probably, like me, you know how to project, man, right? You're fun and exciting. You're doing like the yell-offs like that. It's better than the way Alex Jones yells at the camera, right? So I think that they want to say arrogance because there's so much strength in what you're saying, in what I'm saying. There's so much passion and animation to our spirits in doing this because we've got the bug for the cause. We chose to have a very hard time because we wanted to step up and fight this dragon, right? Instead of just taking this knowledge and being low-key about it, which also that's good for some people. It depends on who you are. We are built to fight on this level and to fight together on this level too, right? So that's getting confused with the arrogance because they don't even realize that there is so much to back up what is being said because we've moved on from the prior conversation because both of us, my friend, have been doing this for a very long time. And I'd say we are what winning looks like.
Mm-hmm. And it just reminds me of, say, the Epstein list. What's his name? Noam Chomsky. And however many people are on the Epstein list, does that mean that they're 100% wrong all of the time and working for fascist interests, or do they occasionally elucidate you with facts that are actually factually based? Like, for example, Noam Chomsky talked about the problem of concision. You know the word concise. It means short. It means sharp, right? And he said that in the media, let's say, for for example, everybody believes in climate change. You know, it's like, well, I don't believe in climate change. Oh, really? You don't believe that the climate changes? Oh, no, I'm a climate denier. You deny that there's a climate? Oh, okay. I thought, well, you do realize that climate's changing, right? Yeah. It's been changing for 4 billion years. Okay, so there's a conversation that actually has to happen before you can make counterpoints to the ordinary ideas that people have that you cannot put in a 30-second soundbite, because instead of people just going, climate change, you actually have to back up what you're saying, because people haven't heard 1,000 times a day through 1,000 different mediums. Climate change is a complete scam for Agenda 21 to bring us all into a New World Order AI-controlled future with 95% less people in the population so that everybody can be in small, controlled megacities under the Biodiversity Act, where only the elites will be able to go out into the pristine bush areas and everybody else will be a microwave cooked egg stack apartment slave. All right, so in order for me to say that in a 30-second news segment, it just wouldn't get any traction. You know, just be like, oh, let's go to camera B, let's get that fucker out of here. That's the problem.
It's better to just film it with the Hunger Games, right? Because it's about the only way you're going to be able to explain it to people.
So Chomsky made this point like in the 70s, when the attention span was significantly longer than it is today with the addition of TikTok into the mix. It's actually causing brain damage now, the watch cycles of people. If you're watching things where you only have to concentrate for a minute, that's how much concentration your brain says, oh, that's all I need to concentrate for. And so if you're required to listen to somebody for more than 60 seconds while they give you a piece of frickin' information, you're not going to actually be able to do that. Not physically able to do that. Can you imagine how easy it is to bamboozle a population that can't concentrate on anything for longer than a minute? Like, physically can't do that? Man, you could get anything around. You could have secret societies with their symbolism in front of people all the way, because you can't have somebody come up to you and say, hey, police officer, you know that black and white tile checker around your skull there in that cap? That's actually from Freemasonry, symbolizing that they control the light and the dark side of everything that goes on planet Earth. A person's not going to be able to concentrate for that long to be able to digest that, and they've got a whole bunch of blockers that come up. He's criticizing me. He's criticizing what I'm wearing. He's criticizing this, and they get defensive about it instead of actually listening. And that's what's problematic about people who get criticized. And I notice this myself sometimes. Sometimes people's criticism of me is absolutely valid, and I applaud them when they have the guts to give it to me in a respectful way. But when people threaten to knock my teeth out, or swear at me and call me names just because I did something that was perhaps the incorrect thing to do at the time, or whatever, that kind of hurts my feelings. And I don't like having it heard, but it doesn't mean that I won't be able to sit there and stew for a couple of minutes and think about myself, you know, they were a dick about it, but they were correct. And so, yes, you're right, sir. Fuck you too. Now, back to the show.
Yeah, you know, I mean, attention span. You know, it's just, it's real nice, because, like, I'm a long format guy. Like, I'm sitting there, like, I'm doing, like, 3-hour fucking marathon reads of the Talmud right now, right? And so...
That'll put you in a foul mode.
Like, yeah, exactly. But I've done a lot better, like, the Talmud's just awful fucking reading. It's like the worst. But it is so valuable for the psychological aspect of Talmudic Jews and to understand their psychology. It's gold, right? So that's why I'm doing it, to expose this thing that was in the Epstein files. The Talmud was in the Epstein files. The picture of Jeff at his desk, that was the Talmud. Behind him, that big stack of books, right? So all of this, and I started doing the Talmud thing before the Epstein files came out and before all the Jewish stuff as of late was popping up. And so everybody was that's already been following me, right? Because my intuitive brain is like genius. It's like I was just ahead of the curb to be relevant in real time, which is fucking awesome, right? So it's a long format thing, and I make it as exciting as possible because I just be myself and I'm reacting to it. It's not just a dry read. I'm trying to give people that long format attention span by being exciting, and then hopefully one day you can sit down and listen to a lame audiobook and get the deep substance without my antics.
If we're lucky. And
If we're lucky. I don't know. Have you ever meditated for an hour a day?
hell no.
An hour a day.
Hell no. I always thought about the concept of meditation, and I do my own meditations, but they don't take an hour. They only take a couple of seconds. Okay? Where am I? I'm right here. What time is it? It's right now. Is there a threat? Is there a threat coming to kill me in the next 60 seconds? Nope. Take a deep breath. And you're back in reality again. That's my meditation, right? If I got stressed or something, you need to be anchored into freaking reality. And that's what's problematic about this world, is that we exist on two planes simultaneously because we're fifth dimensional beings. One exists in the physical, in the spiritual plane outside of time and space. One exists in time, one exists in space, right? That's why I call it 3D sort of thing, because you've got 6 sides to any three-dimensional object: up, down, left, right, front and back, just like there's 6 sides to any questioning in order to figure out whether something's a part of reality: who, what, when, where, how, why, and the ability to discern, all right, the key word is discern, as in discernment, right, as in like minting a coin, is being able to figure out what the difference is between a truth and a lie, right? And so many people are uninterested in learning the skill. It's a skill, and skills can be learned. Gifts can't be given, but skills can be learned. Right? If somebody has a skill that they've worked on, it means that you can have that skill too if you choose to work on it. You choose not to, well, I guess you're not going to have that skill. Like, I can't play guitar. I know I can't. So I don't grab somebody's guitar and start playing for everybody. Yeah, I'm so great. No. Okay. And I think there's a fundamental difference between those who are clearly rooted and have their feet planted on the ground in terms of reality and what the rules are, versus those people who are essentially operating under the auspices of mind control.
Yeah.
Right, so the old question is, how do you know if you're under mind control? If you don't think you are, that's how you know. I'm not under mind control of any kind. Yep, you're under mind control, mate. Hard.
Yeah. Well, meditation is, the New Agers have made meditation an airy-fairy, disconnected, escape reality kind of thing, right? And there's all sorts of mental disciplines that you can do in a state of meditation. Right? It's a unique thing, and it's only one part of an aspect of having a mystical life. And the benefits that are going to help is that, like, for one thing, you don't have the attention span issue, right, Vinny? So I wouldn't sell you meditation because you need to pay attention. You care enough, and you're already there with how your mind works. People that got that monkey mind that operates the way that it does, or even aspects of the reptilian brain who doesn't want to get off of high alert, and the way your nervous system is charged, right? You go into a meditation session in the middle of your fucking day when you've got time for a couple of minutes. It gives you a chance to completely break from everything that has been building up that day. And so that way you're going into the next thing fresh, right? I did my 8-hour workday today. I get home, and before I eat and I'm hungry, I'm like, oh good, I'm hungry. I should meditate because if I eat first, it won't be as good of a meditation. It's good to meditate when you're a little hungry. So I do 36 minutes because I work in segments of 9. And just laying there in that silence, I'm able to let go of everything in my body, from being a construction worker to transmute my mind into esoteric podcaster spiritualist mode, right? And it just gives me that place of nervous system reset, the ability to let all the thoughts of the activity that I had to be in my active time, and to let those resolve in the drift of the mind, and to think about things like, oh, what are me and Vinny going to talk about today? And, and then that just kind of dreamlike kind of goes in and out, and whichever way the flow of thought goes. Then the alarm goes off after my 36 minutes is up, and I get ready to do the show, right? And, that is a perspective. Like, that is, I do this I've been doing this every single day. Meditating in the middle of my day is part of a 3-part practice for years now. Every single day, without a break, any fucking day, every day. And that's a big part of self-personal transformation, right? So I challenge you, Vinny, to 9 minutes a day.
9 minutes a day.
Give yourself 9. Specifically 9 minutes, because 9 is important.
Yeah, it's important in German as well.
It's 9 is the high holy number.
It's the forgotten word.
No, well, there's that 9. Yes, for 9 minutes, for minutes of negation. This is the amount of time that you need to negate.
Does it have to be sequential?
Oh, a minute here. Yes, you have to do continuously 9 minutes straight.
And you can't have music?
Yeah. I say have music. Music without lyrics or in a foreign language are best, unless it's like a guided meditation thing. Like I've got vinyl records. I've been picking up all sorts of different stuff, either banging heavy metal albums, or I got like a lot of heathen music. Like I got High Lung on vinyl, Wardruna on vinyl. That stuff's all great too. I recommend mixing it up, doing silence sometimes, doing music, letting the music run into silence and then finishing in silence. All 3 of those ways are ways that I like to do.
Well, okay, so you've experienced the benefits, and of course I've studied a lot of people who've done these benefits, right? And like, for example, there was I think it was a basketball team. They got half the team to sit down and just think about sinking a basket, and the other half of the team to practice for 45 minutes trying to sink a basket, trying to train themselves. And the ones who just sat there thinking about it wound up getting more baskets than the other guys who trained hard, right? So the mind, that rule of mentalism in the Hermetic teachings is very, very true, that in order for something to exist, you can first exist in the mind. And I met a guy at a friend's funeral talking about creating a paradox. So let's say, for example, right now, even though physically, technically, you're not fit and healthy and rich and super handsome and live in $1 million home with a beautiful wife and kids, right? You're not.
Stop making fun of me.
But what if you created a paradox, right, where you visualize that stuff already existing, as in it already exists, and you know what it feels like to have all those things, because every time you've visualized it, those are the sensations that come to you. So even though you haven't accomplished it, you've already accomplished it, and the universe just sort of goes, well, this guy's really serious. I guess I have to rearrange the entire makeup of myself in order to make this guy's vision come true. And then it does. Like stuff like that happens all the time with people, or that visualization seems to work better than working. Like the difference between Thomas Edison and Nikola Tesla is Thomas Edison would do 1,000 incorrect ways of making a light bulb before he got the one working, whereas Tesla would just do it once and it works.
Yeah. And this is why you use little representations of things in magical ritual, right? Because I practice magic as well. So, you make a symbol or you have some sort of a statue or a picture or whatever, and then it's iconically connected to something in the real world, so that way it sympathetically picks up on the resonance for the change in the world or in yourself, really, that you're looking for. And then, you go through a whole process of things that you're doing that is an act of going through it, like as almost a combination of the training by making it soft training instead of hard training, like as if you were kind of gently going through the motions, like a Tai Chi or something, right? And as well as the thinking about it combined in a deeper sense of purpose, being charged with all of your intentions and elaborated on, because you use your creativity to tell different stories to the universe about how this manifestation is to be evoked. And that's the purpose of ritual and how you are to approach structuring a ritual.
Yeah. Family rituals, for example, it's all kind of cracked in there. I've been doing a lot of research into parenting lately because I've had to take my two kids a lot more than I have been. And it's good, they're cute and I love them and they love me too. And so it's very, very sweet. It's beautiful. And I want to spend even more time with them now because I'm starting to realize how much damage it is actually doing to them and will be doing to them in their permanent life if I'm not there for them all the time while they're during this very, very young age. That's extremely, they're just soaking everything up and doing all this protocol. And that's why families had rituals back in the day. That's why rituals exist just in a general kind of way, is to make sure that things actually do happen in the way that you want them to. Your morning ritual, so on and so forth. It's become almost a dirty word, ritual, hasn't it?
Yes. Yeah. No, it has. It's like when I'm reading the Talmud, it's they don't want any rituals because it's all witchcraft. Yet everything is about the ritual of honoring the Sabbath, but there's no rituals in Judaism. But it's all a ritual, but they're gaslighting themselves because they're just calling it not a ritual. It's just do this or we're pretty sure God's going to be angry and there will be consequences. So do this and be prepared to cut off the head of a chicken or something if you fucked it up.
Yeah. What you doing, Billy? I'm cutting out the head of a chicken. Well, why are you doing that? Well, I fucked up the ritual, Daddy. I don't know, and they told me the only way to undo it is cut off a chicken head, so I got to do it. You're not even Jewish, Billy. Man, I converted, all right? I fucking converted, and now I cut off a chicken's head. What you gonna do?
Oh, man.
Yeah. Hey, man, it's like I always say, no matter how bad things get, it could always be worse. And they go, well, how, Vinny? And they go, I got no fucking idea.
Yeah, right? Woo. So, Vinny, we're almost at about 2 hours. It is a work night, and I've got some things to do to wind down for my evening. So,
that sounds like a really good list of excuses, but I think we have to go at least 4 more hours before we've even scratched the surface of this conversation. I'm sorry, I interrupted. Go right ahead.
I know, right? It's okay. It's just like I love my friends on the same page with all of this shit. It's a beautiful it's a beautiful thing, and we all should just invade New Zealand, take over the island for ourselves, and live on Middle Earth for the rest of our days in an anarchist paradise. What do you say?
Yeah, it won't work out very well. We've got natives.
We're natives. That's how it works.
Yeah,
I'm a Native American. I've been here for several generations. I'm Native.
I know,
I'm literally
right?
Native by that definition.
I was having that conversation this morning with myself. You know, when you get up in the morning and you have philosophical discussions with yourself, you know, pretend conversations that you're having with somebody else. And I'm like, okay, when the Māori came here to colonize New Zealand, there were people here called the Moriori, and the Māori wiped them all out, exterminated them and enslaved them and raped them, and then they were the dominant people here. And then these English people came along, and French people and other people, mind you, but these English people came along and did a treaty with the Māori people, didn't exterminate them, most of them, and now they've got rights and protections under the Crown. Now, the Māori are really upset about that and call people like me that have been born here after, I think, about, 3, 4, 5 generations, I think it might be a 5th generation New Zealander, colonizers, all right? I didn't colonize stuff, bro. I'm native as well, and more to the point that when you got colonized, you got a peace treaty. When you colonized other people, you exterminated them, okay? So I think that we're a little bit superior in the colonization game than you are, my friend, and maybe you should take some lessons of advice from it. But that would be arrogant colonizer talk, wouldn't it? Maybe it would be so much better if Māori were constantly at war, practicing slavery and cutting off people's heads and practicing tattoo design on them. Things would be so much better then, after wiping out all the major birds and meat sources that were actually land-based animals because you had nothing to keep warm from your Pacific Islands where you migrated from, right? And now there's a Pākehā movement. A Pākehā is the New Zealand Māori word for a non-Māori New Zealander. And they have a Pākehā movement because now the colonizers are being upset that their rights aren't being upheld, that their culture is being undermined and destroyed, right? It's almost like the blind leading the blind back into the circle of the light. Isn't that an interesting way to end up the colonization discussion?
Yeah. I mean, until people can get back to the Hyperborean Udenma situation, like you're going to find a colonizer in history, right? It's just like, go look at anything, like Irish, the Tuatha De Danann, they came to Ireland and they wiped out some bad guys, and then they established things in Ireland, right? There's always somebody that got uprooted from somewhere, right? Odin had to destroy Ymir, and because he was a terrible, terrible neighbor, and then once he destroyed him, it's like, okay, good, the neighbor's dead. We can now move on with the world, right? That's everybody's conquered somebody until you get back to Udenma, and we're all family. And until you figured out where in history we are, we're all colonizers. Every fucking single one of you, even you black guys down in South Africa with your huts and your bad farming skills.
Yes, that would be that would be Tanzania. But yes, there's something interesting about the differences that pull us apart and the similarities that pull us together. Generally, wherever you focus, that's where things are going to grow. You know, I have certain beliefs that come from Māori culture and certain that come from English and Irish, whatever the hell, and it doesn't really matter because these are cultural practices that each culture shares, practices that are based on truth, some of them. Not all of them, usually, generally speaking, are practiced 100% on truth as an entire cultural sort of milestone. Like, what country mandates by law that you follow the 7 Hermetic principles? You know, that kind of thing. You know, the things that are like only based upon verifiable truth. What country by law are you required to engage in Gnosticism, for instance? You know, this is the thing. It's up to the individual to choose how you want to live your life. Some people pick a single book All right, this book has all the answers. Everything I'll ever need is in here. What does it tell you how to propagate crops? Like how to plant a feijoa tree or something in there? No. Well, then your book clearly doesn't have absolutely everything in there. So maybe other forms of education are also necessary in life in order to do the things that you want to do. But the thing is,
they got that book called The Book. I've seen it advertised on the internet. It's like how to restart civilization. It's like this big book you can buy, and it teaches you how to like fertilize stuff, how to make a combustion engine, how to do brick and mortar, like all the literal basics to not lose our basic skills, including electricity and plumbing and things, right? It's called I've seen it, like maybe it's a novelty. The point is that somebody allegedly made a book that literally is all the useful things in case it all ends.
Yeah. And that's the problem with knowledge. As Plato said, he said something along the lines of the cost of knowledge, or rather the cost of wisdom, is suffering. All right? Things are much, much easier when you ignore them. I can tell you that for a fact. I was a lot happier before I knew 9/11 was an inside job and the world was run by child trafficking Satanists. A lot happier. But I was being ignorant, and I just didn't know what was going on. And now that I am not ignorant and I know what's going on, I suffer. All right? That is the cost. And so if you are listening to this show, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for electing suffering over comfort.
You are amongst the strong with us, and we will all stand together one day.
Mm-hmm. All right, cheer, brother.
Yes, sir. Let's hit it. I'm gonna end the stream on my end. Alrighty.
Okay.
Thanks so much, everybody, on the Zerilath Eternal stream. I am terribly sorry about the buffering. So forgive me on the buffering. I don't know why it was so bad today. And I'll talk to Vinny about getting a copy if it's bad in the archive. All right. Peace out, guys. I'll see you later.